Hi guys, how are you? Today we have a special guest with us. We have Ruby Wooten with us. She was friends with Carla. They were classmates in school together, right, Ruby? So we'll let you tell us a little bit about your relationship with Carla in school. So welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And me and Carla were, she was the sister I never had. I always wanted a sister. And never had one until Carla came along. And we were always together, always. When we first met, and the first time, this might sound strange, but I don't care. The first time I went in her and Vicky's bedroom, as girls, our bedroom was our sanctuary. You didn't just come in our bedrooms. And I mean, it was our space. So anyway, so we went into Carla and Vicky's bedroom, and the first thing that caught my eye was their mirror, their dresser, and then there was a big mirror. And the reason it caught my eye was because they had taken different colors of nail polish, and with that nail polish on the mirror, they drew hearts and flowers and things like. I've never seen that before, and I just thought that was just the most awesome. It was beautiful, and I told Carla, I said, "You know what my mother would do to me?" Because I had a dresser, with a big mirror too, and Carla looked at me so funny. She goes, "It's just nail polish. Nail polish remover takes it all." I was like, but my mom wouldn't look at it like that, I promise you. Carla's like, "Oh, we do this." So we went to my house and got a whole bunch. They had tons of nail polish. Me and Carla went in my room, and we did it up my bedroom mirror like you wouldn't believe. Mama wasn't home. And so, I mean, I thought it was gorgeous, and I knew I was okay until Mama came in my room, and she was kind of upset with me, and I was like, "Mama," I said, "you should see Carla in Vicky's mirror," and I said, "It's beautiful." I said, "And look at that." I said, "Mama, I'm gonna tell you like Carla told me. It comes off the nail polish remover. It's not, it's not there forever." And they change theirs all the time. They'll put something, they'll put a flower, and they'll take nail polish, take it off, put a rainbow, and Mama, really, it isn't that big of a deal. Well, my mama, I was trying to talk her into this, what I was actually trying to do, and get myself out of trouble, but it didn't work. I did get out of trouble. Mama's like, "Get that off your mirror," and I don't want to see that again. So that's where that stopped, but we still got to do it to her mirror, because I was right in there with them, with Carla in her bedroom with nail polish on the mirror. I'd just never seen that before in my life. Just carefree, 14-year-old girls, with dreams of there's all about space. And we planned our future, laying there in the sun, in the grass, watching the clouds. And we promised each other that we would always be next door neighbors. No matter where she was, I was going to be there too. We were going to get married at the same time, preferably brothers, if that was possible, but we knew that wasn't a given. But we knew we were going to get married at the same time. We were always going to live next door to each other. We were going to have our babies at the same time. We were going to raise our kids together. We were going to take our kids to the park together, and we were never going to be apart. And I mean, that was my future, and that's what I wanted. And I mean, we literally made a pact that day, that was, that's what we wanted, and So when they came up missing, the whole time they were missing, I refused to believe that, that they were not here physically. I came up with, and again, you got to remember that 14-year-old mind. Um, I thought of something that, nobody's hurt them. Why? It crossed my mind. You guys are clowning around now. People are starting to get worried, so it's time for y'all to quit playing hide and go seek and go home. While they were still missing, I was riding the bus. School had just started back. I was riding the bus, and in our old neighborhood, our bus would go through our old neighborhood, and I caught myself. And I didn't even do this on purpose, but I caught myself searching. I sit right by the window and I just was scrutinizing everything, just looking, taking everything in that I could possibly take in. And I realized that I was looking for them because I thought, I don't know what's going on. I don't know where you are. And it's killing me not to know where you are. But in my mind, okay, you hated living in Dover so bad that, and I mean, now I don't know that for a fact, but I thought you hated living in Dover so bad that you probably ran away and you come back to Paris. And if you did, you came back to your own stomping ground, and that's exactly where I was when I was on that school bus. So I thought if I looked out that window and just, absolutely tried to absorb everything I saw, I might see them somewhere. I would sit out at night, look at the stars like she and I would do. And it just felt so different to sit there and just look at this vast universe and think, I'd give it anything in this world to know where you are. And, you're just like, why don't I know? Like I told Trish, it's in school. I don't know how they do it now, but in school we always had to raise our hand, to ask a question. And like I said, 14-year-old minds. I can remember sitting out there completely by myself, and just looking up at the stars, thinking. And I would talk to them. I would talk to them because I was convinced they were still alive. And I was like, guys, if you just raise your hand and go, I'm right here. That's all you got to do. I'll be right there to get you. If you just somehow let me know. Just somehow let me know where you are. I just wanted to know where they were. I just wanted to go get them. And I couldn't. And I did that for so many nights. And in one day, my life changed forever. As I'm sure everybody did. A lot of people. Um, and it's made an impact on my life. I turned 54 yesterday. And it's made an impact on my life in ways that when you have a child, it's absolutely the most amazing part of your life. And it was for me. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it most definitely was. But I couldn't, even though I was just overjoyed there was still that nagging, kind of a sick to your stomach feeling that, this is something we were supposed to do together. And I actually, as weird as it's going to sound, I actually kind of felt guilty that, God was blessing me with these opportunities. And they should have been blessed with those opportunities too. They should have had the opportunity to be a mom. They should have, we should have had the opportunity that was stolen from us with that one day when we planned our lives at 14 years old. We should have had the opportunity. Nobody had the right to take that away from us. Me and Carla were, a big part of our life was bubblegum. Bubblegum and records. Bubblicious bubblegum. Had to be Bubblicious bubblegum. One of us always had Bubblicious bubblegum. And when neither one of us did, you know what we did? It was look through the couch cushions time to see what change we could find. Because if we didn't have Bubblicious, we were determined we were going to find some change somewhere, and we'd always watch this little store that was pretty close to the neighborhood and buy that Bubblicious bubble gum, and we both always had a big old wad of that in our mouth. And the joyful things that you experience, you really, really want so bad to be able to share it with them, and you can't. And I mean, it took me down a pretty dark road for a little while. It changed my attitude. It changed me the very day that they were found, because I knew it was like, it's over. There's no more hoping. But I went through a really dark time when I was just mad. I was just so mad. But I didn't know why. I didn't know at what. I wanted to just lash out. But at what? When it's like there's an invisible monster somewhere that has stolen something so precious from me. And I mean, I don't care what she might have done. None of that matters. The fact is, she was an innocent, and they were both innocent, 14, 16 years old. They did not deserve for that to happen to them. I got to where I hated myself. I couldn't stand myself. And so July of the following year, like I said, I was still 14. And this is hard for me to admit. I'm not proud of it. But all I knew was I was hurting, and it had to stop. It had to stop. And I had to stop it. I couldn't see any end to it. It was fun. It was like, it's not ever going to get better. It's just getting worse and worse and worse the whole time that goes by, and I don't know how to stop it. I wanted to escape, and I just didn't want to hurt anymore. And so I did try to take my own life. And I'm going to tell you right now, it is truly, truly, truly only by the grace of God that I sit here before you today. Because I don't remember, I almost did die. I mean, I'm only here because God still wanted me here. Because I should have died.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you think Carla and Vicki knew who killed them?
Yes, I do. Yes, because I know them well enough. I was talking to Trish, and I've always said that uh, there's no doubt in my mind that they knew who that was in that truck they got in. Because I'm telling you, I know with all my heart they would have never gotten into a vehicle if they did not know that person. They were smarter than that.
Right.
They were very loving. Don't get me wrong. They were very loving, and I mean, if you were a friend, you could look up loyalty in there. You'd find their picture. I mean, you know, if you were friends, you were friends. You know, and but they were smart, and I knew. You know, when they come up missing, and I heard it was a blue truck, and I was like, oh, they didn't get into it because it was a stranger. I can tell you that. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. I know they knew who it was.
You know, Ruby, you had said something earlier that really struck a chord with me when you said, why did this person do this to us? And that's very true. You know, they didn't just do that to Carla and Vicki. They did it to a lot of people. And I'm really sorry you've had to live with this survivor's guilt. But we're really happy to see you here with us today. And, you know, survivor's guilt is, you know, that happens to a lot of people. And you've had to suffer, you know, through all these years, along with the family and many other friends. And, you know, Carla and Vicki wouldn't want to see you, you know, living like that. So we're very happy to see you here today. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Yeah, us. That's a big word, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Miss Nell, their mama.
Yeah.
You know, got to see her again today for the first time in years, and you know, yeah. I mean, I've always thought, you know, I know how I've always felt. I know how bad I've hurt. And I mean, it's excruciating. And I thought, I just can't even begin to imagine being Miss Nell or Debbie or Trish or any of their brothers and sisters, you know.
Right.
I mean, you know, yeah, I mean, it's beautiful, beautiful souls, beautiful little girls, beautiful souls, not hurting anybody, just stolen. Futures, dreams, aspirations completely shattered in one day. Completely shattered in one day. If anything I've said, you know, pricks somebody's heart, be it the one that did it, the two that did it, I don't know, might have been two, or somebody that just really needs to open their mouth. 40 years is way, way, way too long.
Oh, Lainie, so we got the chance to interview Ruby, one of Carla's best friends from Paris, Tennessee. And what did you think about getting to meet Ruby and seeing her face?
You know what? I thought that Ruby's interview was one of the most heartfelt and true stories of just hearing what it was like to be a 14-year-old teenager in 1980 and really close friends with Carla. I felt like she really brought Carla to life for me in a way that nobody else has been able to do before because of her friendship and just her mindset at that time when she was such good friends with Carla. They spent lots of time together, and you could tell that they really enjoyed each other's company, and she has great memories from just spending time with Carla. It really made me feel even more drive to make sure that we are able to help push this case forward, because I feel like I know Carla now.
Right. And you know what? And it was also a reminder of that not only Carla and Vicki were victims of this crime, you know, it was,
very true.
It made, you know, the family and friends are also victims, and they continue to be victims until someone pays for this crime. So I really appreciated talking to you, Ruby. And it was really nice, you know, to, like you said, to hear these stories and, you know, the nail polish story. And like you said, it took you back into, like, I appreciate how she kept saying my 14-year-old mind.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. So that was
nice.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now introducing Carrie Dedman, niece of Carla and Vicki, daughter of Trish Gordon. She will be reading statements from family and friends.
I knew Carla in school. She was one of the sweetest people you could meet. I never had the chance to meet Vicki, but through the years, I feel as I know her from all the good things I've heard about her, and she was just as sweet as her sister Carla. Being in school with Carla would make it easy. She was funny. Carla was my best friend. Cheryl, Carla, and I would walk through the halls and make the best of each day. Just so many good memories. Carla and Vicki were beautiful, great kids. They didn't deserve what happened. The family needs closure on this, and it's been way too long. Betty Williamson. Being the oldest child, I was always the protector of my younger siblings. Unfortunately, I wasn't there to protect them when they needed it most. My brother Roger felt guilty his entire life because he didn't walk to the convenience store with them. He once said to me, if I had gone with them that day, that wouldn't have happened. My response to him was, if you had gone, we might have lost you too. Trish Gordon. I did not know the girls personally, but I do know their sister, Patricia Gordon. She is a dear friend of mine. I have been part of Stewart County for about 20 years now. I feel like I've come to know Carla and Vicki through their story of what local people and the family have to say of what could have happened to them. It's a story of secrets, lies, and truth. I would love to see the truth come to light and this case have an ending. The family deserves to know what happened to Vicki and Carla, two young, innocent girls who saw something or heard something or just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe someone in a position of authority just didn't want the community to know what they were up to. Please, someone give this family some peace. Tell them what you know. It's been 40 years. Let's put this story to rest. Please, this family deserves the truth. Betsy Van Valkenburg. I've always felt a strong connection to Carla and Vicki, and there's a reminder of their memories every year of my life. Exactly 2 years to the day that they went missing, I was born. This irony has provided me a life purpose to take strong involvement in bringing justice to the evil that prevented me from ever getting to meet my aunt. I don't believe my birth date is a coincidence. It's more of a synchronicity with a hidden meaning, and my goal is to uncover it. C.J. Gordon. I remember growing up with my sisters. We didn't have computers, video games, or any of that stuff. We played outside most all summer, playing house, making mud pies for our brothers to eat. We would go into the woods, cut grapevine, and swing on them. What fun we had. We played games like hide and seek and Red Rover. They were always happy and smiling. None of us had a worry in the world. I never dreamed in a million years that this horrible thing would happen to them. I always imagined they would be married and raising kids of their own. It's truly sad that 40 years have passed and their murders still go unsolved, but the family still has hope that one day justice will prevail for Carla and Vicki and for our family. I would like to say thank you to all the wonderful people and friends who have helped us along the way. You know who you are. I know that one day God will answer our prayers. Deborah Singleton. As Carla and Vicki's cousin, I remember us pretty much growing up together. We were more like sisters than cousins, even with the age difference. We would go for walks and talk about nothing really in particular. Actually, we laughed at the simple things sometimes, simple corny things. We played music, danced, and basically just acted like normal teens. Carla and Vicki was always bright and cheerful, beautiful and polite, outgoing and friendly. We were super close and always got along. They were beautiful, smart, and responsible for being young teens. Gone way too soon because of someone's evil ways. They deserve justice. Gone but never forgotten. Thanks to each and every one who has helped and supported the family for the past 40 years. You are loved and appreciated. Sandra Knight.
Hi, everybody. Thanks again for joining us. And a special thanks to our special guest, Mayor Robin Brandon. Thank you, Mayor, for joining us. It's good to see you again.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah, it's definitely our honor. And so we just want to talk to you a little bit about the murders of Carla and Vicki happening there in Stewart County. And can you tell us a little bit about what you remember from the time in 1980? I believe you were away at the time, but you could tell us about growing up during that time and what you remember from then.
I was away at that specific time in 1980, but not too far away. I was just up in Clarksville in December of 1980 and a few months before that. But I was living up there, so I was disconnected from what was going on in Stewart County. So even though I was only 30 miles away, it was a separate location. So yeah, it was that time in Stewart County, and I know you may have heard this before, but it was like the Wild West. It was like the Wild West in Stewart County. The Dixie Mafia was, everybody knew about the Dixie Mafia. I mean, it was just, well, it was the 70s, the late 70s. And so it was just a different time period. People did things back then that they don't do now. It was more relaxed. I guess, the 60s were over with and the 70s came in, and Stewart County was just a wild place. And I've said this many times. If I had not joined the Navy and left and gone on the other side of the world in 1983, who knows how my life would have turned out, because it was not a good place to live in Stewart County in the 1980s. The unemployment was at above 30% when I went into the Navy. So, there were no jobs. So there was a lot of plight, a lot of blight. And it was just, Stewart County's always been a tough place to get ahead in. If you didn't have much, it's hard to make your way in Stewart County, even with a good job. So without a good job, it was tough sledding around here back then.
And can you remind us, how old were you when the girls went missing?
23. So I was born in 57. Mm-hmm. So I just turned 22 or 23.
Okay, so then you came back to Stewart County, and you've seen this whole investigation unfold over the past 40 years. You've had a front row seat to it. And now being mayor, you're deeply entrenched in the community, and I'm sure very connected with wanting to make sure that the community feels safe and is able to find justice for Carla and Vicki. What do you remember from the course of the past 40 years and the case unfolding that you'd like to tell our listeners today?
Well, it never had a solid foundation. I just don't think the case ever had a solid foundation from the start. They wanted to group 30 different individuals and portray them as suspects, but I don't know how you do that without eliminating 25 of them right off the bat. But they focused on 30 people that may have just been anything from passing through to living here next door to the girls. So it could have been anybody that they brought into their circle, their line of questioning. But I just didn't feel like they ever had a solid foundation of suspects. It was always just far-fledged theories of a muscle driver passing through, or somebody from another state. So they never really, the law enforcement at the time never seemed to have a really good grasp on solving this case.
Right. And also, we know that you have a special vested interest in this case, as your wife is a family member, so that makes you a family member as well. And I know that holds a special meaning to you as well. We talked to actually your sister-in-law last night, and she really feels that, you know, a case like this can change a small town and it can change a county. Do you feel like this murder in particular changed this town and this county forever? Or do you feel like as time goes on, it can, things can heal as it goes on?
Things can heal as it goes on, but this county has been changed forever. As a member of the family, married into the member of the family, I've heard firsthand over the last 40 years, well, Lori and I have been married 33 years. So I've heard the families talkings about this for 3 decades now. And a lot of times the family have been the driving force of what's been behind solving this case. When law enforcement dropped it, the family picked it back up. When law enforcement said they were done with it, then the family would have a vigil to bring awareness back to the girls. And that's what's kept this case alive. It hasn't been law enforcement. Law enforcement hasn't kept this case alive. I've been very disappointed. Not necessarily the sheriff's department in Stewart County, that everything was kind of taken from them, but the TBI, in my opinion, dropped the ball on this, and they still continue to drop the ball. These murders were taking place on federal property. This should have been a federal crime where federal authority, the FBI should have been brought in on this from day one, but for some reason they weren't. And we don't know why, but we don't like it.
Right. Why do you think that is, Robin, or Mayor? Why do you think that is?
That the FBI wasn't brought in?
Right.
I'm not sure, I would only be speculating at this time, but, I guess you have to, if they're told to stay out, can they come in? I don't know how that works, but I would have asked for assistance from day one. But for some reason, the TBI at that time did not want assistance from day one. They wanted to handle this case, and they handled it all right. And, 40 years later, we still don't have it solved.
Right.
So do you think that there's still potential that this case could be solved?
Oh, yes. I think there's potential that this case could be solved. There are suspects that have been floating around these double murders for 40 years that have really very rarely been questioned. And so I know that in a lot of these cases, you bring certain suspects in time over time, and then after a while, their story changes. And when their story changes, then maybe then you can prosecute them. But we haven't even got to that point to where certain suspects are not even interviewed.
Mm-hmm. 40 years since this crime occurred is coming up in, oh my gosh, like what? Less than 2 weeks from now. And we understand that there's a vigil. And will you be attending the vigil? Have you attended in the past?
I intend to. It's sometimes these vigils are wrapped in controversy. Some controversial figures will show up. And so, if it's going to be a vigil to remember the girls, then yes, I'll definitely be there. But if it seems to be something that someone wants to turn into a political farce, then I probably won't come.
Okay, that's good.
I think, like you said earlier, Robin, or Mayor Brandon, everyone, like with the family, just keeping the girls' names in public is the key to solving this case. I think it's very important that you continue to every day, not just when September comes around, that the girls' names get brought up. I think we have to continue being a voice for the girls and alongside with the family until this case is solved and until someone is behind bars. So we, thank you and the family for helping everyone keep the girls' names out there and keep talking about them until there's justice.
I would like to say this, Amelia, and thank you for giving me this platform to say these things. But, because of the fact that I was married to Carla's cousin, and I've been married to Lori for 33 years. I have always been somewhat connected to this case through family members. People in this county know me. They know that I'm connected to the case in one way or another. They know that I have been outspoken on this case. Even with all that, they still elected me county mayor. I think that says a lot for this county as wanting to get to the bottom of this case.
I think that's right. And we know you have a lot of fans there in the county, Mayor. So, so thank you again for speaking out.
It's my pleasure. We've got to find justice for Carla and Vicki. If it takes 40 years or however long it takes, I thank you guys for continuing this podcast. This has probably been the best thing that's happened to this case in the last 20 years, is you guys doing this podcast and bringing all these facts to light and just getting people to talk about it. So I thank you guys for what you're doing to bring this case to light, because it's probably been one of the best developments that we've had in 2 decades.
Oh, well, thank you, Mayor. We really appreciate that. That's really nice. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for your time today. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with us and to share your insights and feedback from the experience that you've had with the case and with Carla and Vicki's investigation.
You're welcome. I hope we can get to the bottom of it. I think the truth is out there. I think you guys are doing everything you can to get to the truth, and so thank you for that.
So Lainie, we had the opportunity to interview the mayor of Stewart County, Mayor Robin Brandon, who we got to meet when we went to Dover.
Mm-hmm.
And so what did you think when he came on?
Well, one, I'm just really thankful that the mayor of Stewart County would take time out of his busy day to talk to us, which was fantastic. And to understand what a depth of history that he has with Stewart County and with Dover and this case was just amazing. And I appreciated his passion for really wanting to not only solve this case for the family of Carla and Vicki, which he is actually a part of by marriage, but that he also really wants to focus on the aspect of keeping his community safe.
Absolutely. And I think he understands that, 40 years ago, law enforcement and the TBI was, it was what it was then. And the current TBI inherited this case.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's, important to understand that they're doing their best and doing their, doing what they can to solve this case. And they're doing, with what they have. I mean, evidence gets, ruined, it gets lost, things happen, but we can still make this work. I still think this case is solvable. And we, like you said, we really appreciate Mayor Robin Brandon coming on to speak with us. And, we hope to see him again soon.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to part 2 of Murder at Land Between the Lakes, 40 Years Later Special Edition. Tune in tomorrow night to listen to part 3, featuring Danny Peppers, the owner and editor of the local newspaper. Also, Trish Gordon, the oldest sister of Carla and Vicki. Also, we will be answering questions from our viewers, so tune in. If you have any information, please call 1-800-TBI-FIND. That's 1-800-824-3463. Or you can reach us at 609-429-0371.